Howdy, Winnacunnet.
Patrick and Mike on desk reporting for duty.
Oh yeah, Jerry.
Hey Mike, why are you even wearing that hat?
I have no clue.
Well, you look fedorable.
Aw, thanks, Patty.
Right, don't call me that.
I'm sorry I hurt you. You were my best friend. I still can't believe our friendship faced a tragic end. Letters apologizing to you I will send. I hope our friendship we can soon mend.
Is that just poetry?
Yeah, I dabble from time to time. It really gets my engine going.
You should enter in Poetry Out Loud.
For sure, when is it?
You missed it. You have to wait till next year. It was last Wednesday. Sarah Coffin took home the W for the 3rd year in a row. Talk about a three-peat.
Wow. Well, Slim Shan That Can O'Hara has a story on Poetry Out Loud. Check it out.
Hey there, Winnacunnet, the Shan That Can here. Last week, the auditorium was filled as guests filed in to see this year's competition of Poetry Out Loud. Poetry Out Loud is a national poetry competition in which students recite different poems by different authors. I took a look at this year's competition, who won, and what it was all about. This was Winnacunnet's 8th year of hosting Poetry Out Loud. It was held by Miss Rogers and Miss Pershino with the assistance of the Winnacunnet English Department as well as Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Lichtenstein. The night also had appearances from Mr. Cyrus and the jazz band who performed during the event as well as the totem staff who provided refreshments. Poetry Out Loud is a national recitation competition which was created by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation. Last Wednesday night, a group of Winnacunnet students performed a variety of poetry in front of family, friends, and a panel of judges. The students were then scored on physical presence, voice and articulation, dramatization, level of complexity, level of understanding, accuracy, and overall performance. Several students then advanced to the next round. Those students then performed a second poem which determined the winner.
He was a big man, says the size of his shoes on a pile of broken dishes by the house. A tall man, too, says the length of the bed in an upstairs room. At times, it is like watching a face you have just met, trying to decide who it reminds you of. For a minute, I see a sight beyond all the pictures and poems ever made. Shadows of deepest black, just lit by moving candles and lamps, and by one great pitchy torch stationary with wild red flame and clouds of smoke. The good, God-fearing man, says the Bible with a broken back, on the floor below the window, dusty with sun. No one, surely, whom you ever hated or loved, but yes, somebody.
And in first place, Sarah Coffin.
In the end, it was returning champion Sarah Coffin who won for the 3rd year in a row. Ashley Hutchinson placed 2nd and Isabel Domingos placed 3rd.
It's a really good experience and it's a friendly competition and I'm really competitive, so I always want to win. But obviously Sarah Coffin wins because she's like poetry master. So
I feel really happy, and the girl who made first, she's really good, so I'm glad she made first.
It feels really good to be in Poetry Out Loud because you learn so much from the poems, and it's really fun to meet all of the other people and hear all of their poems. When you memorize your poem, it's not just about reciting a poem, it's about learning what the poem has to offer. And when you learn that, it makes the whole experience really special.
Sarah will now move on to the semifinals competition at the New Hampshire Institution for the Art on March 4th. Please attend and support our school. For more information, clips, and videos, visit the Poetry Out Loud website.
Speaking of winners, Winnacunnet's own ROTC Patriot Cyber Team racked up 1st place in the Marine Corps Gold Division. The online competition for middle school and high school students puts them in charge of managing the network of a small company and trying to find cybersecurity vulnerabilities. This hefty task was led by Brian Coffin and Colonel Antonio as supervisor.
Yeah, that's some pretty interesting stuff. You know what else I've always found interesting?
What?
Study of living things. There's really nothing cooler than the study of life and how life works on such a minuscule level. It just blows my mind.
Well, lucky for you, Henri has a story for you on the experience and projects that have been going on in the science wing. Henri Coleman has a story.
Henri Coleman here for WHTV. You may have noticed the strange smell in the science wing these past few weeks. The smell was actually due to a new program created by Dr. Vaughn Cooper of UNH that allows students to observe evolution in bacteria. a program that has been brought here to Winnacunnet.
We're interested in, we've developed this system to make evolutionary biology and an empirical science that you can see in action in the course of a week.
So what we're doing here is we have two different bacterial cultures, lac plus and lac minus. So we put them both into the same test tube to see which one would prevail and create biofilm sticking to the bead. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transfer the bead, which is covered in biofilm, to a new test tube so that we can see which one will win again if any more mutations occur, positive or negative.
Evolution is a widely disputed issue today, despite all the facts and proof that support it. Although there is no such dispute in the scientific community about evolution, some still question the evidence, and tangibly proving and displaying evolution is a great leap forward.
So, I mean, sort of been a career goal of mine to make evolution a tangible study subject in high schools. The way we got to Winnacunnet is, I know Mike Handwerk, our kids are friends, and he's terrific. And he agreed to take the plunge with us, and Ms. Scarponi agreed to come along for the ride, and it's all been made possible by the really hard work by my former master's student, now outreach coordinator, Taylor Warren.
As this new experimental curriculum brought to Winnacunnet comes to a close, teachers and students alike have noted that it is a huge success and will definitely be back to Winnacunnet in future years. This is Henry Coleman for WHTV.
That was really cool, actually. You're right, Burke.
Hey, Pat, what do you think of all this snow?
It's hogwash!
Yeah, it is, but I made a pretty sweet snow fort. But because of all the snow, Winnable had to be postponed. The annual battle of knowledge between the grades had to be delayed due to our 2-hour delay on Monday. The new day has not yet been finalized, but it's expected to be sometime during the spring. Keep your minds fresh when it comes, because 216 is taking home the W.
Nice side story, Mike. Want to do something?
And what do you mean? We have Warrior Block after this.
What do you do in your Warrior Block?
Warrior Block, sit there, read stuff, not really much.
But has it worked? And what might it look like next year? Sarah DeMello and Maggie McDonald have the story.
Hey Winnacunnet, Maggie and Sarah here to tell you what really goes on in Warrior Block and what to expect for next year.
According to NEASC, the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, Warrior Block was developed to be a formal, ongoing program to make sure each student has an adult in the school other than guidance that they can turn to when help is needed.
In advisory, we're really hoping that every student has a chance to get to know a teacher really well so that that teacher can help them with academic questions, personal issues that they're having, friend issues that they're having, just have another trusted adult in the building that they can go to if they need anything.
Warrior Block was supposed to be for SSR, WHTV, and group activities. Some students say that they don't use the time for reading, though.
I just use Warrior Block as a time to catch up on my Twitter feed.
Every Friday we watch WHTV, and then during the week we usually read for SSR, or some of the kids will do homework and talk about colleges once in a while, things like that.
Warrior Block is one giant rave. Glow sticks. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
My Warrior Block is a close family situation, and so what happens in Warrior Block stays in Warrior Block.
Warrior Block, we read. We do SSR, which is either silent sustained reading or sustained silent reading. I'm never really sure.
We sit there and talk and sometimes read.
I ask kids not to play games on their phones, but for the most part, you know, they're quiet and respectful.
There seems to be a large variation of what goes on in Warrior Block. Luckily, we talked to Mrs. Goupel, who is on a committee to determine the future of Warrior Block.
For next year, the advisory committee is definitely hoping that we can have some sort of a Warrior Block that may not happen all 5 days of the week, but we're hoping that we could meet a couple of days a week, or maybe even once a month, meet at an extended block, so we could have a good chunk of time to do a large activity that could be helping the juniors out for the career fair or helping the seniors out with the college application process.
And that's our Warrior Block.
So Winnicott, stay in tune for what will be happening with your Warrior Block in the future. This is Sarah and Maggie for WHTV.
Kobe! What are you doing?
I'm throwing away my trash in style at night.
Oh, I mean, I guess that's cool. Is that the thing Tyler did a story on?
Indeed it was. Shall we check it out?
I suppose.
There's a sport that has arrived at school, and you probably don't even notice it. It's shooting trash into the trash can. I asked 2 sophomores, Ali and Erica, about the sport of shooting trash in the trash can.
Well, I think that's just like when you have a piece of trash or something and you like toss it into the trash or something. Like people in class will be like, oh, for the 3, and then see if they make it, and then bet on it and stuff for guys.
Here's what some of the trash throwers say about the sport.
Alright, whenever I have a drink or something after I'm done with it, I always ball out, catch that 3.
I am literally Kobe Bryant. Nice to meet you.
Off and Kobe says, are you kidding me? Boy, that is close. Woo!
I make buckets.
When I throw my trash, I always hit it and quit it.
My family hates it. They hate me. It's just something that I do that I need to stop, but I can't. Physically.
I don't really like how the trash cans are so far away, but it's really alright, because I can just, fade away with a few seconds left and just hit it off the glass.
I used to ball out in trash cans pretty seriously. Last year, I'd get one of these vitamin waters every day at lunch, and when I was finished them, I would get my Snapchat story out with this hand and film and go, Kobe.
Kobe!
Some students choose not to participate in the trash throwing.
I don't like when anybody else throws anything in the trash because they think they're better than me.
No, I always walk up to the trash can and throw it in the trash. It's very more respectful. Give the lunch ladies a break because they do a lot for us.
The teachers of Winnicott have certain beliefs on the sport of trash throwing.
I don't really consider shooting paper into the trash a sport. However, in my classroom, my rule is as long as you make it, it's not a problem. If you miss it, it's a detention.
I very much don't like it when they don't ask. If they're like, hey, Mr. Prinslaw, can I try to get this in? I'm all for a little classroom competition here and there, but I just don't like trash being thrown willy-nilly. That kind of gets on my nerves.
A lot of times I do go double or nothing. In one case, I did have a kid have to come up 4 days in a row for detention, so that was interesting.
And I have a few particular students who are habitually horrible at making it in the trash. They continuously try and just never get it in, just nothing.
I could lose an eye.
I see really 2 sides to this. The first thing is, if a teacher's talking, don't throw stuff in front of them. It's just rude. And second, people need to follow through. I feel like the whole gooseneck follow-through thing was not taught in HYA at the appropriate time, and people's form is horrendous. After that, when you take that shot, you got to make sure you have enough oomph on that.
Mr. Edgar is always working on his form. He has excellent form. He's worked on it since he was a very young child.
Wow, what a sport.
Yeah, I might quit rec ball and pursue my career in trash throwing. I've got to go practice, so let's wrap this episode up.
That's a good idea, my friend.
I think I'm going to leave right now, actually.
Best idea you've had all day, Mike. Just remember, Winnicott, wet socks are the worst kind of socks.
Yeah, I'm Patrick, and that's Mike. We'll see you next week.
Yeet!
I skipped the whole line. Only I started laughing.